If you talk to yourself in a way you would never talk, this episode's for you. Somewhere along the way, many of us learned that being hard on ourselves was the price of being successful. That if we weren't constantly pushing, criticizing, or second guessing ourselves, that we're going to fall behind. What if the voice in your head isn't actually yours? What if the reason you're so hard on yourself has less to do with who you are and more to do with what you were taught? Today, I want to talk to you about where that voice comes from, why it sticks around for so damn long, and how we can start loosening its grip. Stay tuned, everybody. You're not going to want to miss this. So, right off the bat, I think it's important to call out no one is born talking to themselves like this. No baby is going to come into the world thinking, I'm not enough. I should be better by now. That doesn't happen. That voice is developed over time. It's shaped by our environments, by the expectations of those around us, and the moments when love, attention, and approval felt conditional. Maybe you learned it because praise meant being quiet, strong, or resilient. Maybe it meant performing well. All of this while being overwhelmed and unsure was ignored. Eventually, that external pressure is going to turn inwards. And one day, you realize that harsh voice in your mind, it's not a parent, it's not your teacher, it's not even a coach. It was you all along. Because here's the tricky part. Being hard on yourself, it actually can work for a while. It really can. Self-criticism can create results. It can push you to achieve, it can push you to keep going, and frankly, it can keep you staying disciplined. And because it works in the short term, we assume it's the only way. We tell ourselves that if we ease up, we're going to get lazy. That if we're kinder to ourselves, we're going to lose our edge. But there's a difference between motivation and fear. Fear is going to move you forward, but it's not going to carry you very far. Eventually, that cost is going to show up as burnout, anxiety, or a sense that nothing you do is ever enough. So then what? This is where, as my friend Ted Lasso would say, it's worth slowing down and getting curious, not judgmental. Ask yourself the question, where did I learn that rest has to be earned? Ask yourself that. You might even go on to ask yourself, who benefited from me believing that slowing down was a weakness? For some of us, it's our school systems. The same systems that rewarded output over effort. For others, maybe it's your family dynamic where love felt tied to achievement. For most of us, it's our culture, constantly reminding us that someone else is doing more, they're doing it faster, and frankly, they're doing it better. When the voice in your head sounds like someone from your past, it's worth asking whether it still deserves authority in your present. But being hard on yourself doesn't have to be neutral. In a lot of times, it's not. It comes with a price. It makes it hard to feel proud, even when you've accomplished something meaningful. It keeps you scanning for what's missing instead of noticing what's right here in front of you. And over time, it's going to train your nervous system to stay in a constant state of tension, always bracing yourself, always wanting to push for that next thing. You can be successful, but you're still going to be exhausted. You can be capable and still feel like you're falling behind. And I want to be clear, that's not personal failure. It's a sign that the system you've been using to motivate yourself is unsustainable. So the goal isn't to silence that inner critic overnight. I need to be clear, you're not going to do that. That's not a realistic expectation. You're not just going to tell yourself magically, okay, I heard Will talking. He says, shut that voice out. That's not a realistic expectation. But, and frankly, honestly, that's just going to usually create another thing for you to be hard on yourself about, to be honest. Instead, I want you to start noticing that voice and not try to argue with it. When it shows up, I want you to ask yourself a simple question. Where did I learn this from? That question is going to create space. It's going to shift the conversation from what's wrong with me to what happened to me. And when kindness feels forced, try neutrality instead. Instead of saying things like, I'm amazing, say, I'm human. Not, I should be further along. Instead, I'm allowed to be where I am and still want more. This is how the grip is going to start to loosen up for everybody here. So in closing, you don't need to punish yourself to grow. You don't need to be harder on yourself to be worthy of progress, of rest, or even compassion. The voice in your head learned its job a long time ago. But that doesn't mean it gets to stay in charge. Growth doesn't have to feel like self abandonment. And if no one told you this lately, you're allowed to move forward without tearing yourself down along the way. As always, be kind to each other, and we'll see you next time.